Hey you guys, so today I want to get into the topic of sounds, specifically sounds that really resonate, that are current, sounds that will really help make your production really sort of stand out right from the beginning. So here we go. When I can, I like to go online, watch other guys, see how they're producing, watch their techniques, listen to their sounds. And one of the things that I have noticed that's pretty consistent is a lot of guys that are able to move really quickly have this sort of template mentality. They start with a session that basically has certain components built in, certain drum sounds, synth sounds, bass sounds, that they kind of know they're going to probably use in almost every production. And really, I have no argument with that if you're working on a really tight budget and you have to move quickly and get a lot of material out fast. And I believe in doing some of that, but I also believe that you have to sort of constantly be in a state of reinvention, reimagination of your sound, how you approach things. I mean, pop music is just constantly evolving sonically, and you have to be on top of that. So what I try to do when I start a production, after a client has given me their specific notes, is to start by finding something that excites me, something that makes me say, oh, if I heard that on the radio, the first thing I'd want to do is turn the volume up a little bit. I often, as I've talked about in other videos, I want the vocal to be able to breathe a little bit up front. I want to make sure that my sounds are supporting the vocal, and I want those sounds to really tweak my ear in an interesting way up front. All right, so for this first example, I want to show you two separate sort of textures that I created, trying up front in the song to see which I liked. All right, pretty simple, right? All I've got going on there is a piano, which a couple things going on there. One is I used my trusty combinat. That really does give me that gritty sound. It gives me that mid-range tone. Also, I did a little high pass here. I ran a little 1176 there on it just to give a little bit more presence and punch to the initial attack. Rolled out just a little bit of the low mids here. And I'm running a piano verb, which is a lexicon. And then I'm running a little echo. In this particular song, there is a swing to it. And so what I do is I try to make sure that my echo matches that swing. Those sort of things really help create the right rhythmic feel in a song. The other sound comes from analog brass and winds from output. I found that there's a lot of great pop pad sounds in this synth that just immediately really catch my ear, feel very fresh and current. And I don't think I modified that sound a lot. That was probably pretty close to the patch. So that sound in the piano really had a certain quality and magic to me that was matching the song. But after a couple of days, it wasn't quite sitting with me in as exciting a way for the very intro of the song. So I decided to do something different. So this is what I'm using now for the intro of the song. Use the old trusty combinat to get that sort of mid-rangey, gritty sound. I did a little spread on the sound with this real ADT. Again, probably rolled off some, just a little high pass there to just focus on those mids, keep the low end out. And the next thing I did was I brought in just a vocal. Those sounds came from Exhale, but in this case I may replace those once I get the vocals from the actual artist. All right, let me show you another example. This next example, I want to show the pre going into the chorus and how the sounds sort of evolve. So coming out of this pre, pretty minimal in the chorus here. Beat, bass. But I start bringing in something to give it a little tension. And then I bring these in. Again, showing how nicely vocal samples can really add a great modern texture to your sound. So once the initial beat gets by, I bring in this sound. That sound comes from Signal. Again, output, just a great collection of instruments. On top of that, I bring in these vocals. And I guess what I'm trying to establish here is that for me as a producer, I find myself constantly trying to work back to the simplest approach to get something effective, emotional, current. In my early days as a producer, I think my approach was always to layer. But I think when I'm listening to music now, what I love, especially with pop music, is I love to be able to really differentiate between the sounds, hear them clearly, and the best way to do that is to not have them layered over many times. I mean, once in a while, you need to step back and say, well, how would a band play this? If I had 4 players or 5 players on the stage and they all had to play this live, could they do it? And so if your answer to fixing your production is layering and layering more sounds, maybe you need to step back and ask yourself, which of those sounds are working for you? Which ones are exciting you? And then strip everything else back and start working your mix a little bit. See if you can make those few sounds really pop. All right, I hope that was useful to you. And if it was, please like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. And until next time,